Good morning, this is David Rizzo with Rogers Gardens, and today we're going to talk about February in the garden. So this is really just a checklist of what I'm planting, what I'm doing in the garden, and what I'm getting ready for. And so it's really a good time of year because we're on that transition. We're starting to come out of winter. We're not quite into spring yet, so we're on that transition. We're going to be getting a lot of rain this week, and so that's one thing that's batting down the hatches because man, we're going to get a lot of rain with the river storm coming in, or they call the Pineapple Express. It's just a lot of water, but just be ready for that. So we're going to go through and you can ask any of your questions. Well, wait till the end. And so we're going to go through what we're planting, what seeds I'm planting, what fruit trees. I'll talk about sweet peas. I'll talk a little bit about the bulbs. Excited that we're going to be, we got our shipment of bulbs in. We got our summer blooming bulbs in. So I'll talk about those. And other than that, let's get started. Okay, so with vegetables this time of year, a lot of people want to wait until the spring stuff. It's really early for the spring stuff. I'm still doing my winter vegetables. So I'm still planting all my gourmet lettuce. I'm going to do all my spinach. I always like, this is my favorite thing, and I bought some color packs the other day. I like to do another crop of cauliflower. So if you guys harvested your cauliflower, go through, take it out, amend it with some compost, some Malibu compost, and some worm castings, fertilize, put in more. So I'm going to probably plant some more because get them in before the rains too. But definitely do a second crop of cauliflower. And then I'll do more broccoli. I pulled some Marathon. I'll get Marathon. I'll get any of the bigger head varieties. I can do my spinach. I can do bok choy. One that I really like that I know a lot of people don't like head lettuces, but I love this Crispino. Take the tag out if you guys can see it. Crispino is such a good head lettuce. Has more flavor. So I'm doing all the romaines, like the little gem and the regular romaine cost. I'm doing all the greens like Indavi. I brought some seeds up too, so you can start doing another crop of carrots, if you haven't harvested your carrots yet. Radishes I'll do right now, like the cherry bells. My arugula bolted, and it's really funny because yours doesn't bolt when it's cooler, but I'll go through and I'll do another round of rocket arugula. So that's one of my favorites. It's more of a tender leaf. I like the Indavis, the frises. They're really good. One of my favorite lettuce mixes, the Gourmet Baby Green. So this is by Botanical Interest Seeds. I love this variety. I like to do the big packs because I'll do like a whole row of them. Get them in before the rain though. That's one thing that I always stress. If you're fertilizing, if you're planting, the rain will soak things in really good and get stuff established. Like I planted some of my strawberries last week, and oh my gosh, we got so much rain on Thursday that good for stuff to get established. Another hint on seeds before I go into herbs. I do my tomato seeds inside right now, so they'll be ready to put outside in 6 weeks or so. So this one, Brandywine Soda, one of my favorite heirlooms. This is Amy's apricot mix, yellow Brandywine. So I seeded in my greenhouse at home. I seeded over like about 1,200 seeds, but I'll keep them in that greenhouse until we warm up. And then we warm up a little bit more at night. Then they'll go outside, and they'll go out a couple weeks outside. Then talking about tomatoes though, the plug for next month. We're doing Tomato Mania the 1st to the 10th. So if you guys are really into tomatoes, that's really the start of the plant. So that's when I'll get all the plants in the first week of March. So let you guys know about that. So with the vegetables, like I said, not that much. Just keep planting. Just keep on doing your veggies because we're gonna stay cool for probably the next about 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So then we'll start warming up closer into March. But moving on to herbs, this time of year, I do look at a lot of the perennial herbs. Like it's really early to do basil. I mean, I won't do basil until almost April, until we're about 55 at night. So the one thing with the perennial herbs that I'm planting right now, I love the parsley, the Italian giant, like the giant one. One of my favorites for putting on pizzas, I like the Mexican oregano. This is a good one, so fragrant. Spice Island rosemary, one of my favorites. You can do the chamomile right now is good. Your chives, your onion chives are good. Some of the sages I like. I do like, let's see which one. I do like Chef's Delight. That's a really good one. For the chefs that are making brown butter, they're doing the narrow leaf sages like the Garden Gray or the Chef's Delight. The Greek oregano is good. We're finally getting some mint in, so the mojito is really good. It's like an English mint, a little bit bitter. A lot of people like to use this in drinks because it's a little bit bitter, but one thing with mint, don't put it in the ground. Take some Malibu potting soil, put it in a 14-inch pot, and put it on your patio in full sun. But I don't put it in the ground because the mint will take over your whole garden. Some of the thymes that I like English. English thyme is my favorite thyme. French thyme is good too, but it's a little bit more bitter. So when you're using dried thyme a lot, you're using English. And one trick that I'll show you when I harvest oregano and mint and thyme, you take off a piece of it like that, right? Hold it from the tip and then pull it down. Let's see if I can do this. And then you strip all the leaves off it. Do it again, you hold it, strip it down if it doesn't want to go. And then what you can do is you can dry this. And so that's the one thing is sometimes I'll put it on a paper plate and I'll dry it. So I'll do the same thing with the Mexican oregano when I'm making pizzas. I'll take off a pinch of it like that, hold the tip and just sort of strip it down. And then that's what I use on the pizzas. I use it fresh, but you can dry it too. But always put it on a paper plate and dry it before you put it in your shaker cans, because then it won't mold. You don't want the herbs to mold, so that's important. So that's with the herbs. Another one that I didn't see that's a good one to plant right now, I think we're out of it, is cilantro. So right now, plant cilantro from seed by plant. You got leisure, you got slow bolt, you got a bunch of them. So that's why plant your cilantro, but I really didn't see it on the table, so I didn't really bring any of it up. So that's, but that's with herbs. So again, get them in before the rain. They like to be soaked in, like to be established with the cooler weather, and with the good rain helps the plants get established. So that's with the herbs. So that's all the herbs. So moving on, I didn't bring a lot of annuals up, but still plant your annuals. Plant your pansies, plant your violas. I did bring these up. One of my favorite plants, I always will still plant a lot of violas this time of year because they're so durable. They'll go all the way into spring. We're starting to slow down on the ornamental kale, so I didn't bring any of that up, but definitely with even the Icelandic poppies and all those annuals, keep planting them. And now's the time to start doing primulas. We're pretty low on them right now, but into this month, end of this month, I'll probably get a whole bunch of English primulas and malacoides and all of them. But wanted to talk a little bit too about some of the some of the spring blooming like biennials and plants that we treat as annuals are starting to come in as we get closer to spring, like the Mona Lisa anemones. They're coming in. So love to plant these around roses because they give so much color. Like look at this one. That's a neat one. That one is Italian bicolor. So the Italian anemones are just strong stems, not tall, but good rebloomers. So I'm getting all my ranunculus in. Now it's time to plant ranunculus. If they get sort of washed out with the rains, just clip the flowers back and keep on letting them grow because they'll rebloom. Another big thing right now is to put your biennials in. So like the foxgloves, foxy mix, Dalmatian mix. So get your foxgloves in the ground now because as we go more into spring, they'll bloom. But you want to plant them now. You want them to get their roots established before you put them in the ground. And these are nice little starts. Let me pull one out and do a little. What I always do, I don't want to get everything a mess. See what the bottom is sort of root bound. Peel that off. And I'll sort of toss that into the bushes over there. And then what I do is I'll butterfly the roots. That way these new roots have a chance to come out. And another thing that I do is I like to press down the soil, and I don't like to over plant too high, you'll rot them out. So I sort of sometimes will push down the soil, plant it right there. But definitely get these little biennials in before the rains. You have delphiniums too, like this is Magic Fountain Mix. So this is a good one to put in right now. I didn't see any larkspur yet, but if you see larkspur in the nurseries, buy it. If we get it in the next 3 weeks, buy it, because a lot of people wait too long to plant it. There's a couple other plants too that I like putting in right now for spring color. I'm over here. I like the Cineraria Cinetians. They'll bloom for the next couple months. Very showy plant. I love lupins. You know, even though this isn't a perennial variety, I think is it Russell's or one of them, but I love lupins. The Campanula cup and saucer, that's a good one to bring in right now. And so, but that's the main thing with some of the annuals and some of the biennials. And moving forward, I'm going to move this and talk a little bit about perennials. So even though it hasn't been a really cold winter in the day, we've been cold at night, so a lot of the perennials, like the salvias and some of them, have still been blooming. So I'll show you some of my perennials that I pulled from our stock that normally we wouldn't get as much this time of year, but we're getting them now. Oh, watch that. It's like scrap. So I'm getting some really good osteospermums. What's this one called? This one is Zion Blue. Nice one. Got in Osteo Sunshine Beauty. Little gold. One of my favorites though that I like, and a lot of people think it's they think it's a Coreopsis, but it's not. Look at that weed in there. Get rid of that weed. So, but this is a Biddens, and this is called Be Alive or Bees Alive. So look at, there's some different varieties of this, but this is such a cool variety. It's like a little perennial that trails, but these are good rebloomers. So love that. So we're getting more daisies, like some of the, this is Lolly's berry gummy. So a nice little red Marguerite daisy. I had some blue marguerites too, and I don't know what I did with them. Anyway, moving on, the Nemesias I put in right now, like the Snow Angel. Look at this one that I've never really seen this color that much. This is called Snow Glow Yellow Bicolor. Look at the color on this. So these little Nemesias, if you put them in a lot of sun, they will bloom for 3 years, 4 years. Just keep light cutting them back. If they ever look like they're finishing, light cut them back, because the new flowers will come right there. So that's a good one. Some of the hummingbird plants are coming in. Like this is the cigar flower, the Kufia. The hummingbirds love this because the nectar sits in the back of the flowers. So they love that plant. We're getting the Garas in. The Garas are really good. This is Belizeia dark pink that I like. I always like the Sea Thrifts. This is Splendens, the Armarias. This is good little perennial, especially on roses. Like the Yarrow, one of my favorites, even though they take a little extra water to get established. Love the Achillea Yarrow. Getting in some chocolate cosmos. So even though we really wouldn't get as much of this stuff this time of year, we're getting it because the days haven't been really cold. The salvias are going to be a little slow. This is little Wendy's Wish. I'm a stickler for buying stuff small when I can find it because I know this stuff's going to grow fast. But they're a little slow right now because we've been still cold at night. Even with the lantana, I like to plant the Lucky series, but they're going to be a little small, and make sure watch with some of the leaves spotting the fungal problems on the lantana. If you have any fungal problems on the lantana, clean up the leaves and I'll spray with a garden fungicide. We're seeing the heliotrope or heliotrophic, the little marine purple, which is a good one. And so that's with the perennials. And another thing that I want to talk about, and everybody thinks it's late, it's not. If you haven't had a chance yet, put your wildflower seeds in, like your California poppies. All your California native seeds. And so this has some good ones in it. If you look close, this has like baby blue eyes, it has 5-spot, it has Godetia, it has Chinese houses, and what else does it have? Yeah, and so it has lupins, it has the California poppies are really good, Clarkia, good, Gilia, penstemon, palmers. Wow, this has Palmer's penstemon in it. That's a good perennial. So this is a good mix. This is by Botanical Interest. This is California native wildflower mix, and this you can really do anywhere. There are different mixes that are, some are coastal, some are desert. You might have more verbena in the coastal one and some poppies, but most of them will do good just about anywhere in Southern California. But yeah, plant your wildflowers right now, and especially before the rains. A lot of people like to put a little bit of silica sand and mix it in, because when they work it lightly into the ground, the silica sand, when the rain hits it, it sort of nicks the seeds. But we're getting so much rain that these should germinate really good, but definitely get them in now before it rains tomorrow or later tonight. So that's with the seeds. I want to talk a little bit about natives, bulbs, and sweet peas, and then the fruit trees and some other stuff. So since we're on the natives, keep planting your natives. Like your ceanothus, Yankee Point, your little buckwheat. I think this is Rubens. Yeah, this is Egronium Rubens. This is the red one. You have the white sage, like Salvia apiana. They get big. You have the Cleveland sage. Keep on doing them. And one I saved my favorite for last. I love this plant. This is one of my favorite natives. Every time I hike in the summer, I'm always amazed with these. They establish best coinciding with the winter rain. So this is when you plant the Cal natives. You can use more of like a DG or a cactus mix to get it to drain, but this is your Romney culturei, or your Matilda hot poppy. Sometimes they call it the scrambled eggplant. So if you guys are ever hiking, big white flowers with yellow stamens, but favorite plant. We got some nice little 1 gallons from San Marcos, so grab them, buy them, don't wait. So with these, we'll only really, especially with that plant, it only establishes when it rains. If you try to plant it in the summer when it's blooming, they'll die out because they don't establish roots in the summers, and sometimes they slow down and go dormant in the summer. So that's with that. And so what I'm going to talk about next, I want to talk about sweet peas. So we still got a good shipment of sweet peas. I'm going to move these herbs out of the way, and let's talk about sweet peas. It smells good. The restaurant's opening and they're cooking up there. I can smell it. It smells really good. So these are your sweet peas. Steve Hampson selects the seeds and they grow them. And these are your English sweet peas, or what they would call Spencer types. Some of them are old-fashioned English, or some of them are Spencers. Spencers are usually longer stem, larger flower, more fragrant. So that's a big thing when everybody will say, oh, all the sweet peas are the same. No, there's a difference. So a lot of the Spencers are longer, big flower, and fragrant. Some of my favorites, this is a new one, Pandemonium. So Pandemonium is a new one. Bailey's Cream, Pink Edge, that's a good one. Southbourne is a new one, more white with pink. You got White Supreme, a good white variety. And Karen Louise, that's a good one. Aubon Bay, which is a nice one. I'm looking for one of my favorites. Allison Louise is a good one. Just Julia, this is one of my favorites. I love Just Julia. Just Julia is a good one. Ethel Grace, that's a good one. What we got two? We got Enchanti, that's a nice one. That's a new one. Another Aubon Bay. I'm looking, well, this is my favorite. If I had one with sweet pea to plant, I would do John Gray. I love this variety. It's more white with pink edges. Love that variety. Charlie's Angels is a good lavender one, so that's a nice one too. What do we got left? We got Jacqueline Ann. That's another nice one, like this one. Piggy Sue is a new one. This is a cream with a pink white edge. New to me, I've never grown it before. Gwendolyn is a good one. The trick with sweet peas, you can plant them in the ground if you have really good drainage, because they rot out easy. They get too much water, and so if you don't, take a medium-sized pot, maybe an 18-inch pot, fill it with good potting soil, like Malibu potting soil, put a obelisk in there, let them climb. Sweet peas are like regular peas. The roots go straight down. They don't have a lot of side root, and they like to climb. But the main thing is put them in a lot of sun. Don't put them in shade, and don't overwater them. Sometimes, you know what, the ones that they seeded from last year, I haven't even watered them. The rainwater's been taken over. So I don't really water them extra. If we're getting a storm every week or 2 weeks, that's gonna be enough water. So don't water them extra. And you really, you can fertilize them. I don't want to overfeed them, but I do like the Malibu because they trace an organic fertilizer by Down to Earth called Bio Alive. So I really don't have to feed them. I just use the Malibu, and the Malibu has the compost, the worm castings in it, and it has the Down to Earth Bios Alive. So I don't worry about feeding them. But the one thing is you want them in a lot of sun because sweet peas are day length sensitive. So they're going to grow right now. But the minute we go into the lengthening days of spring, you know, in March, mid-March and April, that triggers them to bloom. So you want to try to get them tall at 3 to 4, 5, 6 feet before we head into spring. So right now, plant them, don't wait, because you really want them to push their growth and get about 4 or 5 feet tall before we hit into March and April. So that's important. So plant your sweet peas right now. And another one, got in our bare root strawberries. So got in Sequoia, got in Seascape, and we got in Chandler. And you guys are probably wondering what my favorite variety is. My favorite variety is Seascape. Seascape is a large everbearing strawberry. They're so sweet, they're so flavorful when you let them ripen on the plant. So this is a big thing. A lot of times with bigger strawberries, they get labeled as not sweet. Where in the stores, they're picking them in the stage where they have a little pink shoulder. They're not ripe, so no sugars. The sugars have to convert when the fruit is on the plant. So very important for them. And they're day length sensitive too. Everbearing types will keep fruiting all the way into summer as the days get longer. Now, little Sequoia, you can plant them. They're a good little sweet, smaller strawberry, but once you round out of June, they're not going to fruit anymore. And these Chandlers are a June-bearing type, but they act more like an everbearing. I've had them into July and fall. So, but yeah, I love Seascape. So plant your bare root strawberries right now. These are ready to go. We have 15 in the bag for $6.99. They're ready to go. And I want to talk about bulbs. How are we looking on time?
Good.
Okay, so we got in our shipment of dahlias, and so this is really big right here. Dahlias, I think, are like our peony, because even though dahlias aren't fragrant, boy, we really got some good ones in. So peaches and cream, got like 40 varieties in stock. So this is peaches and cream. Got in the Boom Boom White, which is interesting name. Striped Vulcan, that's a good one. So we got like 40 varieties. I like these little border types too. This is called Pretty Woman. That's a good one. We did get our caladiums in too. This is Carolyn Wharton. You know, got some nice caladiums in. One of my favorite amaryllis. These bloom in fall, but you want to plant them right now. They're called Amaryllis belladonna, and they bloom without leaves. So that's the coolest thing. I love those nice pink flowers. We're getting in some of the spider lilies, the Peruvian lilies. Getting in a few, not that many, but we did get some Asiatic lilies in, but not that many, only about 3 varieties. Like this is Stargazer. So now's the time. As you go into February, late February, March, plant your dahlias, plant your bulbs. Don't wait, you know, and if you put them in containers of the ground, one trick that I've learned, put a little tomato cage over them, because then the branches don't get so broken up. So get a little small painted tomato cage and just put it over the bulbs, and as the plants grow, they grow up through the middle and they don't get broken. So easy for the sweet peas. One thing I like to talk about, plant your fruit trees right now too. And apples, your red bearing peach. We're getting in our blackberries. We got in a low chill variety of raspberry called Fall Gold. Favorite variety for this area because most raspberries have a hard time growing here because we lack winter chill or high cold, but I do like Fall Gold. But I'm really a bigger fan of blackberries. So I'll do Superlicious, I'll do some of the black satins, the Arc, all of them. But we'll get more of those in as we go into spring, but we are getting some of the blackberries in. And watch for a new dwarf one called Baby Cakes, which is another new, smaller variety. But I wanted to talk a little bit about fertilizing. This is the time of year to fertilize. So roses, feed your roses right now. January, I prune them back. February, if you haven't pruned them back yet, you can, but they're starting to flush their growth, and I don't want to be cutting off a lot of buds for spring. But I do fertilize them, always with the down to earth. My favorite rose fertilizer, I always will give them Epsom salts. The reason why I'll give them extra Epsom salts is Epsom salts is an important mineral for roses. So it gives them magnesium. This is magnesium sulfate. So it's very important for roses to get magnesium. they produce more branches. They call them basal breaks. So the more magnesium, the more branching, the more flowering. So I just wanted to bring up one of them just to show you. These are our early season roses. This is my favorite rose. It doesn't get really big. It's called Yves Piaget. And Yves Piaget is actually a French Romantica. Sometimes it gets labeled as a hybrid tea. It's more of a peony type rose. Fragrance on it's good. It's a deeper pink. This is a good rose. So I love this variety. So Yves Piaget. And then moving on with the fertilizers. This is one that I like. I like using this one for vegetable gardens because this is BioLive, and BioLive has a lot of mycorrhizae in it. So the mycorrhizae helps it's a beneficial fungus that is symbiotic with a lot of the roots, but it helps sort of break things down, helps the roots. And so I like to get it going, especially this time of year. I always will put it down in my vegetable garden. And then let's talk about other. So citrus, you want to feed citrus right now. I do the, and avocados too. Citrus mix will get fertilized. I'll fertilize avocados and I'll fertilize lemons, limes, oranges, kumquats. The reason why I use this is because when you look at the back, you have your NPK, which is 6% nitrogen, 3% phosphorus, and 3% potassium. Now 6% nitrogen gets the plant active and helps it grow. 3% helps the fruit, the phosphorus helps fruit and roots, and then potassium is sort of like help to build resistance against stress from heat, from weather. So that's important. But the most important thing that citrus and avocados like when you flip over the back is minerals. So when you look, it has your iron, your zinc, and then a little bit of magnesium. But the sulfur helps acidify. Calcium does help the fruit, but they do like a little bit more minerals. So that's important. And this has a little humic acids in it too. So this is the one you want to use for your citrus and avocados. This is the one that I do like to use for my fruit trees. I like this, even though it's considered an all-purpose. It's a 462, so really a little higher in the phosphorus and the calcium. So when I look at this has 10% calcium, but it has 6% phosphorus, a little bit of magnesium, which is good, and then it has a little bit of humic acids. But I love this. This is what I'm going to give peaches, plums, nectarines, apples. I feed my tomato garden with it, so I love this fertilizer. So that's about it with the fertilizer. Another trick that I do, this is little trick that I'm learning that's been working really good, is when it rains a lot, I always put out containers, buckets, trash cans to collect water. I put my compost tea bags in there, and turn it around, David. And so you're making your own compost tea with rainwater. And the reason why, rainwater doesn't have any chlorine, doesn't have any salts, doesn't have anything in it. So it's just clean water. So make your compost tea, let it soak. If you have a trouble with mosquitoes, put a lid on it, But I have some little mini trash cans. I always let them fill with water, and then what I do is I submerge like a watering can in the water, and I water my vegetable garden. So very important for that, So that's to make my own compost tea. And is there anything else? Oh, I want to talk a little bit about fungal. If you guys are cutting back your roses and spraying, I do like the sulfur spray. Garden fungicide is a good one. I brought up the copper soap. This is a good one for rust and black spot and mildew. But if you have anything white painted, white picket fence, white walls, white house, don't use copper spray because it will stain it like a light blue. Use your sulfur spray. But I do like the sulfur. I use it a lot, but I go back and forth. I'll use copper, I'll use sulfur, but mainly it's just to really keep down the fungal problems, because we're going to see a lot of fungus this spring because of all the rain we're getting. Takedown is a good one for scale. If you guys have a problem with scale on all of your either citrus or your bay leaves, use Takedown. Takedown is a filtered canola oil, very good to use. I didn't bring up any Sluggo. Sluggo is a really good one too, that you can use for the snails and the slugs and the pill bugs. There's Sluggo Plus for that, but definitely with all the rain, we're gonna see an influx of snails and slugs. So look at your organic. I don't use the non-organic anymore. I only use the organic. So the organic You put it down before a rain if the snails are a problem. When they cross it, it's an iron phosphate. It's not a methaldehyde base. So Sluggo you can use around your vegetable garden. You can use around your fruit trees. It's safe to use. So that's important because a lot of the slug baits are methaldehyde based. Very strong, so I don't use those because they're a toxin, and especially if your pets get a hold of it, it's not good. So that's why Sluggo, and it's by Monterey. And we sell little 1 pound cans, 2.5 pound cans. That's what I like using. And so let me set this down. I keep tripping over the Epsom salts. Like, okay, I think we're done for today. On another few notes, we did get our low chill peonies in, the Itos. So the Itos are like tree peonies. So we got a bunch of them from Monrovia, so they're good to plant right now. They'll bloom in spring. And then I am getting my flowering magnolias. My saucer magnolias are coming in. I got a big shipment of Japanese maples. Got a lot of maples. And so we're all good on that. So you guys, any questions? Now's the time, question time.
I think we're good on time, so remember to leave your questions in the comments once the videos are posted,
Mike.
guys.
Mike's my coworker. He's trying to make faces, but it's not working. I'm not falling for it.
Or you can always come in. Our hours are 9 to 5. If you can't come in, call the store and speak to our horticulturist directly. But yeah, make sure to follow our Instagram and Facebook to stay updated on the newest gardening advice with David. So thank you, David.
Yeah, and so thank you guys. This is David Rizzo from Rogers Gardens. Thank you for joining me today. And you guys have any questions? I'm here most of the part of the week. I'm not here on Thursday, Fridays, but come in and see me. And I'm happy. I love this time of year. This is when we go into spring. We're done with the winter and the crazy Christmas, and we're going into spring. So this is my favorite time of year. This is the gardening year. And watch for my video. This is a shameless plug. Rizzo's Tomatoes. And so watch my videos. Watch my videos online and at home. I just put my greenhouse up and I planted over 1,000 tomato plants yesterday and some dwarfs. And so, yeah. So you guys have a good day. Thanks for joining me. And follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. And you guys, happy gardening. Stay dry.